Okay. It disappeared. No, I'm holding my lens off. That's funny. Okay, where's my pen? Most importantly, where's my lip balm? And as soon as it gets 5:30 on one of these clocks, we will go ahead and get this party started. All right. It is now 5:30. I will be reviewing the guiding principles, housekeeping, things like that, just to get this started. First things first, this is a learning live, so go ahead and gather some note-taking materials for yourself. Digital, however you see fit. I'm old school. Notebook, pen, and a highlighter. That's how I've been doing it since I was in probably middle school, and that's how I learn best. But you decide how you learn best and go get those or gather those materials. If this is your first time here, if you're watching on the replay. Secondarily, you're going to need a second device because we will be looking at the website as well as the YouTube channel for our cognitive fitness. The device that you're using, the second device, go to turnarounddoctor.com. I think my light is about to go, so we'll see how this ends up today. I do need to replace it with the one downstairs. You're going to go to the turnarounddoctor.com and you're going to go to the 74 Principles of Real Leadership tab. Scroll down to Leader Led, which is going to be the L. And we are on number 2, inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. And I'm checking to see if that light is about to go. Okay. So note-taking material, website, turnarounddoctor.com, 74 Principles of Real Leadership, Leader-Led, inspect what you expect. And now we should all be on one accord, as they used to say back in the day when I did attend church. Good morning. I am Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today's topic is inspect what you expect. And how did we get here? We got here through neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neurons, which then turned into neuroplasticity, which is creating new neural pathways. You take those two concepts, you combine them with the theory of personal accountability, as well as the 74 Principles of Real Leadership, and what you have is neuropability. That is your brain's ability to wire itself to use the 74 Principles of Real Leadership to create unlimited neural pathways for you to hold yourself personally accountable each and every day so that you can have your best day every day that you are here. And how do we do that? We use the frontal lobe, and inside of the frontal lobe, we use the executive function of the brain, which is also referred to as the CEO of the brain. So without further ado, let's use it today. What I have been doing after giving an overview of the 74 Principles of Real Leadership during the lives, I am now taking each individual principle of real leadership and I'm explaining it to you. So much so that I give you the definition of every word so that you can have everything that you need in order to solely, 100% completely understand the principles so you can wire your brain so that you can use it. So without further ado, let's start with inspect. And again, we are reviewing inspect what you expect, which is under leader-led. So the definition that I've chosen for you today is this: inspect. Examine someone or something to ensure that they reach an official standard. Examine someone or something to ensure that they reach an official standard. Number 2 is the word what. What? The thing or things that is used in specifying something. The thing or things that is used in specifying something. Number 3 is the word you, and that's yourself. You know, you yourself personally, it's you. It's singular, it's not plural. Okay? And then number 4 is expect, and it is regard something as likely to happen. Regard something as likely to happen. So inspecting what you expect means that you are examining something or someone to an official standard. And when that standard is met, kudos to everybody. And when that standard is not met, no kudos to everybody. And some examples that I have is when I was in the military. When I was enlisted and an officer. When I was at basic training, we had what was called health and welfare. They still do them. I don't know if that's what they called them, but drill sergeants would just do random inspections of your wall lockers. And it wasn't really random. They knew what day they were going to do it on. I found that out when I became an executive officer. However, they do it. They're waiting. You're chilling. You've been in the cycle for a couple weeks. Everything is grandiose, and you think you're good. And then all of a sudden, there's a wall locker inspection. Somebody leaves their wall locker unlocked, or you just think, oh, okay, we're good. And next thing you know, you stand in a position of attention, and all your shit is in the middle of the bed on the floor because some person had a donut. Somebody didn't fold their socks up. Somebody's wall locker didn't look like the picture, the illustration on the inside of their wall locker. And so we all got smoked. Yes, we did. And it felt good to turn around as an executive officer and be able to do that and go back and have that moment for myself. I was like, yes, I get to do this now. I didn't like that. Sharon McFarland, my battle buddy, was always getting me in trouble when I was a squad leader. So anyway, they inspected what they expected. And then that continued on in my military career as I was at Frito-Lay. Inspections of things, AIB, INTEC, Food Security, OSHA, DOT, all of those entities would come and inspect everything. And if we were in violation, if it was minor infraction, okay. But if not, when I first started working at Frito-Lay, the wastewater treatment plant got a violation from the city and I think the city and the state. So they had to pay a large fine, do some upgrades to the facility to make sure that the water that they were putting back into the system was not polluting and contaminating the water that people need to use in the Orlando area. So when you inspect what you expect, you continue to have something as an official standard. So what questions do you have about the definition of inspect what you expect before we enter into why don't people do it? Still a little too hot. Give it a couple minutes. Nola, the floor is yours, according to Kevin. Oh, no, you have questions. Y'all got questions? You do. Ask questions is one of the principles of real leadership. Dr. Donna, you've done an amazing job of explaining everything so clearly. This is not about how good of a job I have explained. This is about you learning how to ask questions in an environment where someone can actually answer the questions so that your neural pathway to ask questions becomes stronger. That is the purpose. We are strengthening your ask questions neural pathway. While in the military, this question is coming from Kevin. Kevin resides in South Carolina. No, okay. While in the military, was the inspection timely or just based off a hunch? What I found out as an executive officer of a basic training unit that is that everything is planned. And we know where the lulls are in the cycle, and it feels random when you are on the receiving end of it. But it is actually not random because what happens is you have to have enough drill sergeants available to tear up a barracks. So everybody, so it's when it's an actual lull. Like if you're getting ready to be in basic rifle marksmanship and everybody got to leave and buses are coming and everything. Because what happens is that the privates need time to clean everything up. So it's actually when they would actually have downtime and rest. Yeah, we're not doing that. Now you're going to get all your shit thrown all over everywhere. And so if training got canceled or something like that, you had to move the time back. You go and do a health and welfare and make them fix everything and put it back where it needs to be. But it's not random. It's for us anyway. As a military police officer, it was not. And then when you come back out the field, Kevin, you have the book now. When you get to that point, you'll know that my platoon sergeant said, "Hey, ma'am, we got to inspect the bus stock of the weapon." I was like, "Wow, that's where the weapons cleaning kit is." He's like, "No, it ain't." So, yeah, it's really when people start getting comfortable and lazy, you go ahead and do it and have people, good morning, Regina. You have people remember, like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, we're soldiers. Okay, Nola, what type of things do you need to inspect for people? Okay, got it. So the things that you need to inspect, and we can get into that when I say what it is, but it's standards that you want to keep and maintain. So we know that one of the principles of real leadership is to set and maintain high standards, and you are inspecting those standards with frequency. So for example, Nola, before we go to appointments, and now I put the posters up already, but the standard is once people answer the questions and everything, you then make post-its with their address, the time of the appointment. On the back of it is what it is that we're actually doing. So that's the standard. And anytime we don't have that information, that standard is not being met, there is a stern conversation that I have with you, because that determines how our appointments are going to go. So you are setting up standards for standing operating procedures, and standing operating procedures means that it's always changing. So any area that you want to be best in has to have a standard to it, because now you're measuring it. And so the frequency depends. We have appointments every day, so then we would make sure that that standard is met every day. If you decide that you're going to clean your house once a week, then the standard of making sure that the house is clean and inspecting it happens on Saturday morning, Sunday afternoon, Tuesday, Thursday, whatever day it is. Did you see the comment before that? It's okay. Yes, I can go back to that, but I saw your question first, because what happened is Regina said hello and driving, and it pushed it up. Okay. It's hard for me to ask questions because I have read the book and been going over principles since I was 11. I'm 11 years in. Well, I'm 52 years in, okay? I'm 52 years in. No, I get that, but challenge yourself is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership. As a result of that, you have to challenge yourself. So it's even more challenging for me because I made them. And as a result, I still have to present them as fresh and new and awesome, and here they are, and appealing to you for you to want to be able to do them. And also because you have to be able to teach your athletes, I'm having you ask questions to ask questions of yourself, because when a question is posed to you from your athletes, you are going to be able to need that question, to be able to answer those questions without blinking. So that's the other reason why I'm doing this as well. And it's also to just get that neural pathway, because you potentially know the answer. The exercise is to, or the strengthener is to actually ask questions. Good morning, Sabrina. The exercise is to ask questions, because you're strengthening that question neural pathway, just so your brain can just start getting accustomed to answering questions. So I'm picking a topic that you are familiar with in this nice little safe personal accountability space, so that you will be able to do that when it's time to ask a question that you actually need an answer to. Okay, let's move forward. Thank you for your questions. Why don't people inspect what they expect? Because it takes effort. It actually takes effort, because you actually have to have something to inspect. So growing up, by 5 years old, I had to make up my bed. We had those hideous Holly Hobby bedspreads with the seams and the little ruffles at the bottom, and I had to learn how to make up my bed with that bedspread. Talk about cruel and unusual punishment, goes against the 8th Amendment, but okay, so now Kevin has another alert. Whoop, whoop. Wait, what? Nola, wait, what Nola just said really said it. She 11 years in. That's amazing. Yes, that is amazing. She is 11 years in. People used to tell her, a side note, people's like, oh my gosh, I wish I had your mom. I wish I had your mom. She's like, nah, bruh. No, you don't. No, you don't. I had to read a book. She was in the 5th grade. She had to read a book before she went to school and take an AR test on it, because they didn't go to school until 9 a.m. I was like, oh, you're not going to be watching no damn cartoons. You got to get ready for middle school. Go ahead and go to the library, get you 5 books on Monday. You about to finish a book every day before you go 9 o'clock? Nah. You Absolutely not. There will be no sleeping in. You getting up, you ironing your clothes, you combing your hair, you making your lunch, you making your breakfast. This is your education. Read that book and take that test. So yes, the price of privilege don't exist over here. She was reading Real Leaders Wear Pink in 5th grade. That is correct. And the librarian, and I think I've said this story before, the librarian found out about it and she bought, I think, 8 copies to put in the library at the elementary school. So yeah, there you go. So those children were Real Leaders Wear Pink in it in Lumens Elementary School. Yes, they were. Okay, so going back. It takes effort to inspect what you expect. So if you don't have the neurological pathways to inspect what you expect, it ain't gonna work. So you can't do it. You can't set. It was 4. Okay, got it. 4. I thought it was 8. It was 4. Thank you for that. It takes effort. It takes effort. Okay, so that's why it's not happening. Number 2, lack of technical competence. You can't set a standard if you don't have the competence to inspect whatever the standard is. That's not going to work. Number 3, lack of leadership. And we talked about that yesterday, lead by example. If you are not a leader and people don't perceive you as a leader, then it's not going to work. No, they'll be like, Dr. Donna said, do that. Anybody, she going to forget. Give her 2 weeks. She ain't going to, don't do that. Don't, man, whatever. Oh, we're scared. It's not going to work. So lack of leadership on your part or the perception and the command presence of people perceiving you as a leader is also it. And then number 4, because people are unaccountable. People are unaccountable. So the 4 reasons why people don't inspect what they expect. It takes effort, a lot of effort. It's a lack of technical competence. It's a lack of leadership. And it is because people are unaccountable. One thing about me, and Tony Bortoya, is actually Anthony Bortoya. When I was working on my dissertation, he was the financial manager over all of the region. And so when I was working on my dissertation, he's on the leadership team. So part of my research was to interview the leadership team and all of the team leaders and FOMs and ZOMs of high performance teams, because that's what my research was. If we take these high performance teams, what are the characteristics of them? Then do on the floor observations. I don't want to bore you with that. Anyway, I was sitting down with him and we were talking about it. And then we started talking about, because he had 2 sons, and anybody that had children, even before I had Nola, I was always interviewing them. Well, what's the key to success? I would see their children and they would demonstrate some type of behavior. How did you get them to do that? And so he gave me the concept. I think Nola was 4 at the time, 4 or 5. Good morning, Lola. And he gave me the concept of calibration. And he said, children veer off path. And what you're doing is you're calibrating them and you're bringing them back on path. You're just bringing them back to where they need to be. And so I took that concept because at that point I was like, oh, I'm going to be a timeout parent. And then Nola showed up and I said, I'm going to take time out to whoop her ass. So this ain't going to work every time. This is not, I didn't have me. I had somebody else's child. Who is this devil spawn of a strong-willed human being? Got it. So we had 7 levels of calibration in our household. And what happened was people don't want to be innovative in their calibration. So I had a friend, she would just take, every time her daughter did something wrong, take her TV cord and her phone. So the daughter was calculating. She was like, they're going to take my phone for a week. They're going to take my TV for a week. I'm going to the party. I'm turning up. I'm going to act a fool. But Nola couldn't do that because I was calibrating her. And at one point she was on 30 days worth of calibration at 7 or 8 years old. And that meant that I was on calibration too. And people don't want to do that. When you have to set and maintain this high standard, you have to be the standard by which excellence is measured. So you have to be up there too. And people don't want to do that because it is difficult. And people were like, I can't believe you put her on caliber. They said punishment. I said she's being calibrated. I'm changing the behavior because it takes 21 days to form a habit. And those other 9 days are to seal that behavior in, that new behavior. We're rectifying it. That's why the prison system doesn't work, because you are not changing the behavior. You're just putting a bunch of people together and they're saying, how did I get caught? I bet you I won't get caught again. Instead of actually reinvigorating people and putting them back into society. That's why the recalcitrance and the recidivism rate for first and second time offenders just goes up and goes up, because the system actually doesn't rehabilitate. It just gets them to have, and it does for some, but for most, it's not an effective system. So calibration would be a whole lot better than the system that currently exists. I got a master's degree in criminal justice, so I can say that. Plus, I got a couple crooks in my family. So speak from experience. My nephew's in the pokey right now. Okay. So nickel and dime thieves is what Arthur Evelyn used to call them. So my point is this. It's difficult to inspect what you expect because you have to be the standard by which excellence measures. It's consistent and it's painful sometimes. And most people don't want to cause actual pain to themselves, even though it's a growth opportunity for them. So what takes place is you have low standards, and low standards are too close to no standards. But it looks like you're going to have a surprise inspection, but you're not. So you get these teeny weeny itty bitty little tiny standards, and you go, look at us. We all came to work today. Check. Look at us. We almost got all the orders out. And now it's this very small things. And then you get all 92 routes out. Like, look, we got them all out on time and they all right. Pizza party. Yay. No, that's the job. That's the minimum standards. And that's that Chris Henry effect that I spoke to yesterday. So that is why people don't inspect what they expect, because it is challenging in the mug. It takes effort. You need technical competence. You need leadership skills, and you need to be personally accountable. And most people don't want to do those things. What questions do you have about inspect what you expect before we go to how to actually do it? And good morning, Lola, if I didn't say it already. Burn, baby, burn. And the one thing I will say, as Kevin, you have the book now as well, is I wrote it at a very low comprehension level because I wanted everybody to be able to read it. Having almost finished Colin Powell's 600-page books, I was 450 pages in. I was like, this is too much. And I made that commitment to myself back in June of 1996. If I ever wrote a book, it was going to be simple, easy to read. You weren't going to have to read it from cover to cover. You'd be able to extrapolate the information and use it immediately. And once I knew that she was 5th grade reading 7th, 8th grade level. So I knew once she could read it, that definitely people could read it. It's more conversational as well, as opposed to this is leadership and here it is. And here's my theory. No. Much simpler to read for you to understand. That's why it's everyday leadership for everyday life, because I wanted everybody to be able to become a real leader. And y'all know I'm a teacher because educated, because it's quiet. Everybody like, ask a question. You ask a question. Somebody say something. Get a question going. Give me my serotonin today. My serotonin today. I would like some serotonin from you. Don't give me an apple. Give me some serotonin with your questions. Lola is working, Kevin. Okay, so Kevin, Lola is working, and Sabrina and Regina are driving. So it is you and your battle buddy, Nola, this morning. She got your 6. If you all were in the same classroom, I'd sit you together at the table so y'all could whisper. Miss Teacher, Miss Ma'am. Tomorrow, everybody's going to be listening, driving. No, we can't say that. I'm listening, but I'm driving right now. And what's funny, Kevin, is you and Nola, when you turn your items in, you write about the same amount of information. So I know this is challenging for both of you, because I get your Regina and Sabrina's stuff is like down here. The Sabrina's about right here. Regina's is here, and y'all's is like you fit it on a 5x6. 4x6 card. It's concise. Maybe y'all should ask Chat GTP to ask the question. It's supposed to help with that. I hear people are using it to cheat in college. And I have been thinking about if I was actually a college professor, all the things that I would do to make Chat GTP null and void. I would not allow any. You got kicked out. Okay. What's your question regarding why people don't inspect what they expect? I would make it so we go old school. There would be no electronics allowed. I would go back to transparencies on the go find me an old overhead projector, and instead of written exams, everything would be oral. No more Chat GTP. It has its advantages, and I get that, but that would be the thing. So, Kevin, where is your pregunta del dia, your question for today? All right. We don't have questions. We always are the two that have to answer every day. I'm driving tomorrow. Didn't I tell y'all Nola was going to say that? and she had got kicked out. I am driving tomorrow. Sabrina is on her way to work, and I'm sure Regina is going to help someone. She's either helping a friend or on her way to a medical appointment. Was technical competence always one of the four? Yes, technical competence is always there because people are not technically competent. People, and when I'm talking about technical competence, I'm saying you know your job so well you could teach it to somebody else without the manual. That's what I mean. You have the manual there for reference points, especially if like you got some specs or something. But that's technical competence, and that came from working at Frito-Lay. Jarvis was the top PC fryer operator, one of the top in the company, and he knew how to operate. And when you think of potato chips, that fryer is huge, and he understood from the tractor trailers pulling up and getting on the elevated, I can't think of the mechanism that tilts it at a 45-degree angle so the potatoes can roll out softly so that they don't get bruised. But he understood wet breakdown at the highest level. He could tell you the percentage of water in the potatoes, and if it was too much wet breakdown, refuse the trailer and everything. So when anybody came to any new resource came, managers, he trained them because that was his thing, and he was very good at his job. So technical competence means that you are the SME, the subject matter expert. So yes. And how does inspecting what you expect connect to the brain? So inspecting, great question, Nolan. So inspecting what you expect connects to the brain because it is 100% in your working memory, because you have to problem solve. That's where you set the standards, that's where you decision make, and that's where everything takes place on a daily basis. And in order for you to, when I get to the number 4, update is needed, it's part of that. So you are using the executive function of your brain, and you are most importantly using your working memory. Let me know if I've answered your question, Nola. Sabrina says the ignorant things without having the technical competence. So another person came into our IT department, and he disclosed software that our existing CIO didn't capture. And I'm like, you're not good. In my head, how do you not insult someone when they aren't doing their job to optimal level? You don't insult them. You put them on progressive discipline, and you retrain them first. So we had this happen. I have a story in my book about it. We had ICS Junior that was coming into the system instead of ICS, and we had the most senior person. He was in his 50s at the time. Couldn't understand it from a technical perspective because it was at a higher level of computerness, and this was in early 2000s. So he was still getting acclimated coming from a business owner to that position. And so we, number one, retrained him because he was messing up the warehouse, causing overtime issues and pulling wrong orders and everything. It was really bottleneck in the system. And we retrained him, and he got it. And that was that. So if someone doesn't have the technical competence to do their job, they are retrained, and then they are put on progressive discipline. In fact, if they cannot do their job, and I had to do that with somebody, and again, she was terminated, and then accused me of reverse racism and all his classes and all that stuff. I was like, girl, if you don't get out here with that nonsense, here go the receipts. You don't know how to pick. This job ain't for you. Go find something else to do. So it's not a matter of insulting them. It is performance-focused feedback. Here's the behavior that you're demonstrating, and here's the behaviors that you need to demonstrate in order to keep your job. And if you can't do that, then there are always other options for you. All right, so now how do you inspect what you expect? Number one, you develop the standard. You have to be able to develop the standard. If we go back to inspect, is examine something or someone to ensure that they reach an official standard. So what is the standard? What is the standard? When I was in the military, yes, progressive discipline. And y'all should have some type of progressive discipline that puts people, we called it, if you were in management, it was called being put on track. And then if you are hourly, it's progressive discipline, and it should be in the employee handbook. Talk to HR to find out where their information is and how it goes. I've never done it before. No, I have. That's why I know. Like, hey, Deborah, hey, Garland, what was his name? Garrett. Yes. All right. So about to put somebody on track. About to put somebody in progressive discipline. Here's what we're getting ready to do. All right. So develop the standard. What is the standard? As Nola's business started from scratch, every time we left an appointment, we did an after action review, which is something that I took away from the military. And from there, standards were put in place. So people will watch us work and they're like, wow, you all are a well-oiled machine. I mean, we'll whisper something, how you gonna do that, do this, but it's quiet. We put a bed together the other day and was finished in and out. It was a fabric bed. I forget, Nola's gonna correct me on what the terminology is of the bed. And we were done in less than an hour. And then the person came up like, man, I didn't even hear your tools. So she has, like I mentioned, the electric screwdriver. The drill is quiet. It's not, we don't use an impact driver. She has one that's like, I hate that sound. You don't need that to put furniture together. It's not that challenging. That is more power, more power. So anyway, there are procedures that have been in place for her business, for both of her businesses and her life in general. So you have to set the standard, and you want to set the standard high enough where it's achievable, but not too high where people are deflated by it. So you have the standard, and then you have a BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal that's above that. And so you set the standard, and when people meet the standard, then you raise the standard because you increase the technical competence by doing that. Number two, develop those who will implement the standard. And so who is the person that's going to be responsible for implementing the standard? This is a concept that I borrowed from Frito-Lay. It's the tell me, show me, let me. So you tell me what I need to do, you show me what I need to do, and then you let me do it. And when I become proficient at that, I now understand what the actual standard is. And so in your case, Sabrina, that person may have not been through the tell me, show me, let me, and now people sign off and say you're certified. When I started at Frito-Lay, we had a 14-week onboarding process where we had to learn how everything in the doggone company, in the plant, in the supply chain worked before they allowed us to actually have a team to lead. So we had to actually learn. So they told us, showed us, and led us so that we would be able to, on our own, run whatever team we were given. So number two, again, is develop those who will implement the standard. Tell me, show me, let me. So if you haven't told them, showed them, and let them, and Nola knows this, she will not hear my stern voice for something that I have not told her, showed her, or let her. But as soon as she has been officially trained, i.e. in washing dishes and cleaning up the house and all the other things that are in her business, Money Management Monday and all of that, when it's not done and it's not up to standard, we have a different conversation because we are talking about the standing operating procedures for that particular initiative. The next, and number three, is inspect the standard at defined frequencies. So at Frito-Lay, when I was the second shift manager, I had to go to all the walls for every product. And so you're talking extruded, PC, and corn. And I was attending 40 walls a week. You think you like Frito-Lay products until you are tasting them twice a day, 5 days a week. And no, you don't. You ready to eat. If I eat it, I didn't like Fritos to begin with, and I would be at the Frito wall twice a day, like, so we had to go behind her back and vote to see if it was reference product. I was like, oh my God, it's Frito wall. This is terrible. Anyway, it was twice a shift. We had pre-shift meetings with our team. So we're going to do some ergonomic stretching. We had pre-shift meetings with the first shift manager going to the second shift to third shift. So that was an example of twice a shift. Also at the beginning and at the end. And when I was shift manager, we had a mid-shift meeting with manufacturing, the warehouse, and traffic to make sure that we were on track to get the loadouts done by the end of our shift. I know a lot of freaking meetings, but it is what it is. But it was me, so it was quick. And then at Frito-Lay, we also have weekly team meetings, Toastmasters weekly team meetings, NOLA, we have appointments daily, and then turning in your things for challenges. All of you who are in challenges, you have to turn everything in daily. I'm inspecting what I expect. So I expect to see your submissions by 8:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you miss a day or miss it by a minute, you start over. And that's because the standard of personal accountability is daily. And that defined timeline is that I can get it all in, read it, respond, and go to bed on time. Someone asked before, why did I pick that time? Did it make you sick? Did it make you gain weight? It did not make me sick, and it did not make me gain weight because it's just a small. They just take back then it was like they would take a different size bag off the line. So they'd have a QA person who goes and grabs the product that we're running. So you might be running sour cream and onion Lay's, and you might be running nacho Doritos, Fritos at that time, I forget, it's like $2.89 bag or something like that. So you grab whatever product is running, you go into this white room, it's called the wall room, it's got all this glass so everybody can see it, and Frito-Lay has what's called reference product. And so for every product that you're running at your plant, it comes in a silver bag, they open it up. So they open up what you made, and then they open up the reference product. And people stand around, you have some water because you want to rinse, taste, and then go, okay. So you look at reference, you hold it up, you look at the toast points, the burnt spots, the sugar content, and all of that. And then you put your hand behind your back, and then you grade it, and everybody comes back and says if it's close to reference, how close to reference it is. If it's not close to reference, you shut that line down, you go talk to the fryer operator, y'all make some adjustments, and then you bring the line back up. So no, it was a small amount, but it was just constantly, and I don't like Fritos anyway. So no, I didn't gain weight because we wasn't all sitting there eating a whole bag. It's just enough to taste it, run around, too much oil, uneven season accumulation. And in fact, because of that, sometimes I get on Noah's nerves because I'll be like, oh, this is uneven season accumulation. How we get this? Look at all of this down into all these broken chips. They didn't have enough nitrogen in the bag. And it's just like, it's just chips. Just stop. Okay. Enough of that. I'm holding it up to the light. Look at this. What's the seasoning tumbler? I know exactly what happened. They didn't doggone. The OptiSort was set too low, and I bet you it's because the potatoes, they needed those potatoes, too much wet breakdown, and the potatoes had too much sugar in it, so they set the OptiSort higher up. So anytime you get a bag of chips and they're brown, is not because it's burnt, it's because of the sugar content in the potato. And they have a machine portion on the line that's called an OptiSort. They might have changed the name of it, but it takes pictures of the chips and it ejects any of the brown chips. And so there are trash cans on each side to eject all of the potato chips that are dark. That's how it worked at Frito-Lay. It might be different at other places. Okay, so you inspect it at the standard, at the defined frequency. So if you decide you're going to clean your car once a week, go to the car wash and they don't wash the car properly. Hey, you missed it. Put some butter on them tires. That's not right. Clean your house, wash the dishes, whatever it is, the frequency that you determine that it needs to be inspected at, you adhere to that standard. And then number 4, you update the standard or the frequency as needed. And sometimes it's not necessary anymore, so that particular standard could sunset because you no longer need to do it. So again, the steps are develop the standard, develop those who will implement the standard, tell me, show me, let me. Number 3, inspect the standard at the defined frequency. And then number 4, update as needed. What questions do you have about how to inspect what you expect? And the other reason for the questions is because once you start holding yourself personally accountable and adhering to the 74 principles of real leadership, as I mentioned with NOLA, you need to be able to explain it to other people. Kevin had an interaction with a psychologist and had to do that very thing. And when you understand it in its totality, which is the whole point, now you can use examples and be able to explain it to the group of people that you're speaking to. How long does it take the inspector to adapt those techniques? Good question. I would venture to say it depends on what the techniques are. So if you're already technically competent in what you're doing, you should have it down within 90 days. If you don't have the technical competence, then it's going to take you longer to do it, because that you got to be technically competent in order to be able to do it. So 90 days or less if you already know what it is that you're doing. Now, when you get to my level, because I have done so much and I have so many experiences, I do it automatically, but I'm the standard by which excellence is measured. So I can look at something instantaneously and observe where the gaps are and say, this is how this needs to be done. In my head, make a solution on the spot and say, we're getting ready to implement this, and here's how it's getting ready to be done. And then I can determine the frequency in which it needs to be done. But that's just because that's how my brain currently works. But within 90 days. Or less. Because it's a neural pathway, once you get accustomed to doing it, it will not take you that long, but initially 90 days. And that's because it's a multitude of things happening. You got to develop the standard, then you got to tell, show, and let, and then you have to go and inspect it, and it's going to be new to people. But what the hell are we doing? Because it's at the standard of excellence, so it's at 100%. People are used to operating at 70%, so it's that stretch from 70 to 100%. You know, if you got a C in a class and now you're trying to get an A, that's a lot more work. I know they changed the standards to 50% and all that. I'm old school. I'm going back from when I was in school. So it's that excellence that takes the time to get there. And because it's neurological for everybody. All right. Mr. Hook and Miss Rogers. When are we getting to the activities? You can stop asking us questions, lady. Just go back to your toddler's days. But mommy, why? But mommy, why? What is this, mommy? What does this do? Why do we do that? But why do we have to do that? You know, that TikTok sound, come on, brain. Think of things. Come on, brain. Think of things. Just remember the principle of real leadership right now. Can makes the impossible possible. Are y'all there? Because I didn't see y'all dots either. You can't hide in the virtual classroom. In the finance world, we'd always said that goals are moving targets. To achieve excellence is also. Is that a question or a statement, Kevin? Because it ended in a period. Is there ever an instance you don't have to inspect what you expect? No. Be the best is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And I will say yes in something that you don't plan on doing. So I don't ever plan on being a linebacker for the Detroit Lions. So I don't have to inspect it because I'm not about to do it. But the things that you do, you have to inspect them because your expectation is for the standard to be high and what you're doing. And the only way to do that, and you can do this for yourself. My expectation is for myself when it comes to these lives and everything else is that it's up here, which is why I have a notebook. My PA for the day is to make sure that I never repeat a word and I never repeat myself when it's time to do content. And in order to do that, I have to sometimes go look at the playlist and say, wait, did I do that already? Did I say that? I think I said that. Like, can I say it another way in order to convey the same message? So as long as you are responsible for doing it, then yes, you do need to inspect what you expect. And you do it automatically now with especially when you're assembling furniture and things like that. I watch you and you're not even paying attention. Because remember before I used to have to tell you, tap that again because the screw wasn't flat. And now you do it, running your finger across it and without even thinking about it. You can still be talking and it's on autopilot now. So it's inspecting what you expect. You will test the drawers and make sure that they go in, especially when you got those ball bearing drawers and they need to go in and out to get them attached to the rails and lubricated properly. So it happens. And Kevin, was that a question? At this point too, you can go ahead and go to the social media and YouTube. Is that how updating the standard of frequency is viewed? Yes. Got it. I understand. So yes, when you've met the standard, you move on to it. So in finance, where we always say that goals are moving targets to achieve excellence. So in your example, let's say y'all needed to be bringing in $1 million a week. Maybe so, maybe no. If you all over time consistently kept bringing in $1 million a week, what's happening? The higher ups are going to say, okay, cool, your goal has been updated to 1.5 million. And now, in order to do that, you bring it in another $500,000. You have to start looking at things sooner when the goal first gets implemented to make sure that y'all can hit that 1.5 million a week. So before you know it, because everybody's in it, you could just check it. But now you may have to check in on Wednesday and say, where we at with 250, with 300? Okay, cool. Based upon these numbers, we have no issue getting to the 1.5 by Friday. So let me know if I've answered your question. I believe we're saying the same thing. So now go to the social media tab on the website and go to YouTube. And let me know when you're there. We will be in a personal accountability playlist, which is right under the live. Let me put this in the 74 principles of real leadership while I'm here. And I get it. Inspecting what you expect is not something that naturally takes place. The language of it, the concept of it. So you kind of potentially be buffering this morning because you don't have any pre-existing working memory or somatic markers to say, oh, this is similar to this. So your brain is like, what the hell is this? Why would we do that? And I understand the noviceness of it. And that's, or the neophyteness of it. And that's on purpose because the 74 principles of real leadership work when you understand them. And when would you use them? So some of the principles of real leadership are tools that you only pull out. Think of them as, if you celebrate the holidays, holiday decorations. It's time for you to pull it out. So you pull it out, then you put it back. Your special occasion stuff. That's what it's for. But you know how to use it when it's there. So this is not something that happens even in the military. Everybody doesn't inspect what they expect, and then you go to battle, need your battle rattle, and now you found out stuff then rusted. And your weapon ain't been cleaned out in so long, you try to fire it, it's a misfire. Doggone whole thing fall apart. Firing pin ain't even in there because you lost it the last time you took your weapon apart. So doing this is not something that occurs, because if it did, Kevin, your favorite restaurant where the person left, you would still be able to go to because the other people would still be there doing the same thing. So the standard would be the standard. And the quality would be the quality, and whatever it is. So YouTube channel, personal accountability playlist, thumbs up me when you get there. Use this finger, not that. When you make y'all ask questions, you might want to just keep your fist this way. Yes, Dr. Donna. Red pen. Let me know when you're there so you all can start. It's a 1:36 video. YouTube channel, homepage, personal accountability playlist, right under the live. Are y'all there? I didn't get a thumbs up. YouTube channel, PA playlist, personal accountability playlist. Okay, you're going to be watching the video entitled "Do." 1:30 after you watch it, ... and then say whatever resonates with you. It is due. 1:36. Excuse me. I need to look up the air quality today because it ain't quality in. That's correct. Do. It's the first one. So it's right under the live in the personal accountability playlist. Do. D-O. Not D-U-E. Not as in due date. Or D-E-W. Ooh. Oh. Oh, y'all hear that? Chance, I got stretch. do everything at a standard of excellence. Excellence always was on our crest for MPs. And I do remember on second shift, Monica worked on first shift, so they always had their walls. I had to set and maintain high standards on second shift as the shift manager because they weren't doing it. And I was like, so the product is just not going to be quality on second shift. Is that what we're doing? Because that's where most of the volume is. But yeah, that in and of itself was like herding cattle. Herding cats is what it actually is. All right, Kevin. What you do is a signature of commitment and service. Yes. Got it. Okay. So what did you do? What did you learn today? And what did you learn about yourself today? And the principle of real leadership for today is inspect what you expect. No, eye vision. This is insane. So what did you learn today, and what did you learn about yourself today? Learn. When you say my amazing offspring, that actually has a galactic level meaning. Okay. Wow, got it. Nola does not like me using her government name. If I use the whole thing, she says I'm in trouble. But we are transitioning from me calling her sweetie to Nola because she will be 23 this year. And yeah. So I say that as well. My amazing offspring, what did you learn today? Good thing we're not physically located, because I think Kevin and Nola might egg my car if I was the teacher getting in the parking lot. There she go! Well, not egg, probably tomato. Eggs cost too much right now. You get something cheaper. The acid from the tomatoes would okay. Nola, I learned you need to always inspect what you expect. I also learned that I am naturally good at creating questions. I know. We've been working on that since the second grade. Yes, ma'am. And Sabrina said, all concepts shared are new to me. I need some basic technical courses. It happens. And the thing about it is, I would say, do not think that Frito-Lay is an amazing company. It's all right. It's me. I'm the one who said, if I'm going to spend half my day here, I'm leaving with more than just a paycheck. I'm going to have a lot of information. I'm not about to be here 10, 12 hours. Sometimes I didn't win in that mug at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and left at 5 o'clock the next morning. And it has 17-hour days. So, no, I'm not just going to leave with a paycheck. That's not going to be enough for me. I want to know how this mofo work from the rooter to the tutor. When I say I understand how to take raw materials and you said not. I am not naturally good. I know what you said, sweetie. When I say I know how to take raw materials and turn them into finished goods and sell them in the marketplace, I mean every facet of it. I know that the cook times on Santitas is not the same cook time as it is on Tostitos because they use a denser corn and a shorter soak time. That's why the price is less expensive. And they also use less lye on that. It used to be 14 hours and 17 hours. I understand that if you get mites and mold inside of the silo for the cornmeal, you're not going to be able to make Cheetos. So all of that. The OptiSorter, nobody remembers the name of that. Nobody. And I was reading a book the other day and they talked about Herman Lay. So that was before I had my daughter. No, I started at Frito-Lay. Oh, no, wait. What's today? Here shortly. In 2 more days. I started at Frito-Lay on April 17th, 2001. Got married on September 17th, 2001. And Nola came here on December 20th, 2002. So I was there over a year before I had Nola. But she was there for most of that amazing ride. That's what we'll call it. So I believe if you're going to get my time and energy, I need to walk away having learned something. I don't care if it's a movie. I don't care if it's an interaction at the store, talking to the cashier. I'm going to walk away with some information or it will not have been worth it for me. And I take that because I'm in the people business and use it for a later event, a later place in time. And then what did you learn about yourself today? Okay, Nola, you put yours together. I also learned that I am not naturally good at creating questions. So I know sometimes y'all might be thinking, how the hell did you pack all that into 51, soon to be 52 years? Myself, I grew overnight, and the turnaround risk challenge ain't no joke. Don't say that. Delete that, Kevin. Don't say that. Don't say that. You are going to scare Sabrina and Lola and Regina. If Regina's still here driving. Don't say that. Take that back. No, it is no joke. It is. Now you can see what the drop-off was. Because before Kevin, when I wasn't as kind and gentle as I am now, excuse me, it was only RL365. And what you had to do with RL365, you did poll questions, turnaround risk, and turnaround challenges. And you did 3 sets of them 4 times. And you started RL365 with turnaround risk challenges. So you started with video challenges and you started with turnaround risk, weeding people out. Total control. Got that from the military, day 0 at airsoft school and the first week of airborne school, all that. We getting rid of you. Total control of basic training. If you ain't serious about this, that's why I told you, for you to have made your first video, you passed 90% of the people. Because they're like, I got to do what? I got to go on social media. I got to, oh no. Dr. Donna, this is not for me. You didn't tell me I was going to have to do all of this or whatever. So because of the lives, and now there are 30-day challenges and all of that, but it was straight up 365 days, make it or break it. So, and while we're here, and if you all have to go, besides Kevin, because I'm about to ask a follow-up question, is why is it no joke for you, Kevin, if you don't mind sharing with the group? ain't no joke. That's why I said y'all getting the warm, fluffy side of me with these PA challenges and daily challenges. Y'all should thank your predecessors who aren't here anymore. But those challenges are the reason why you have a 30-day opportunity to work your way up to those bigger challenges. And Nola will tell you she's in RL Advanced and beyond, technically, at the same time. So it gets more and more challenging there. But hey, you don't have to wake up and be me. So there you go. What would y'all do if y'all woke up and y'all had to be me for a day? Ah, shit! What the? Like when they do those Big and 13 going on 30 in those movies, and you wake up as the other person. Like, that's a good question to ask. Regina, and not Regina, but Sabrina and Nola, if y'all can answer that question, what would you do if you woke up as me tomorrow for 24 hours? And you won't hurt my feelings. And then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Kevin said it creates self-reflection and life evaluation. Okay, cool. Got it. Then I won't remove your answer. I'm just messing with you, Kevin. It is totally, and you think it's just, I just got to make a 2-minute or less video. I could do that. And then Kevin, if you can answer, if you woke up tomorrow as me for a day, what would you do? Plus the self-care challenge and real leader resources. Yes, I forgot about that, Nola. Oh, I also finished RL 365, coming up on almost a year. Ooh, my amazing offspring said she would go back to sleep. Oh, I said that to get her be, but damn, you would go back to sleep. Get back, both of y'all would get back into bed. That's not fair. No, come on, answer it for real. Are y'all serious? Y'all would actually go back to bed? Well, that told me everything I need to know. Go back to sleep? Why? I know I said we was going, but if you could just explain why you would go back to sleep, then we can go. But go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. I thought y'all was going to say something like, not that. I didn't have an answer in my head. But go back to sleep, wasn't it? What is that? What's happening? No. Cancel. They said don't ask questions you don't want answers to. I'm just saying, why would you go? I wouldn't be ready to operate on your level of commitment. That's the honest answer. No, answer the question. I'm going to come into your room in a minute, and you're going to answer your question face to face. Answer now or answer to my face. No. I got enough going on in my life. I don't need extra. Okay. Thank you very much for Be Honest. It's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. I'm not quite sure what answer I thought you all were going to say. That the fact that you both had the same answer is interesting in and of itself. Okay, well, inspect what you expect is one of the principles of real leadership today. Just evaluate that. And Sabrina, you as well. Just really just look at what's happening and say, do I inspect what I expect, or am I just saying stuff? Do I even have a standard to inspect? Is something, a moment of reflection to go, well, damn, because how you going to set and maintain high standards if you're not going to inspect them? So you're going to set them and forget them? No, this isn't that doggone roaster thingy that used to be on the infomercial. You can't forget it. You got to go back and check on that stuff. Okay? It's more like having some sauce in the pan. You got to go back or it's going to stick to the bottom of the pan. So yes, go and evaluate your inspecting what you expect, and do it with your progenies, your children. That's what that is. Offsprings, if you will, your relationships that you're in with people. If you have employees, direct reports, or any of that, managers that you manage and all of that, just really friendships and everything, see what's actually happening and see if the standard is up here or if it's lackluster or virtually non-existent or invisible. because it does matter. It 100% does matter. All right. Thank you so much for taking time out of your life today to put you first this morning for your own personal accountability and learning new neural pathways so that you too can wire your brain so that you will be a bad mofo and I can have some peers. That would be great. If I had one wish, okay. I will be back, God willing, higher power, and the universe por la mañana. Same time, same place, same face, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a terrific Tuesday. Take care and adios.